Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Friday, August 7th. Okay, let's get into the action. The S&Ps are trading higher. We're up 0.28%. That's like session high for the morning, so that's very positive. And, you know, we got a big economic report coming out this morning, but realistically, the move is, you know, higher because of last night's tech earnings, which, you know, overall were rather bullish, and that's a positive for the S&Ps, and that's why you're seeing these gains this morning. We're in green. President Trump did an interview yesterday where he said that there's a rate hike is pending. You know, he's talking about why the overall board is making this decision, not his handpicked Fed nominee, Kevin Warsh. What else? You know, he's hosting the mining CEOs at the White House. Apparently, China's grip on the mineral sector is weakening. The Middle East headlines out overnight were rather, negative, I would say. The theme remains in track that that Iran is continuing to dictate the terms of the memorandum. What else do we have in corporate news? The key economic event for today is going to be the non-farms payroll report. In corporate news, Meta is going to appeal that New Mexico ruling that ordered them to pay $942 million due to social media harm on children. Sweet Garden, ticker SG, lowers its guidance due to the food outbreak. And Wendy's actually cut its dividend. Ooh, that's going to be bad for those guys. Boeing shares, I'm looking at Boeing shares, and they are higher this morning. There's this news report out there about how the FAA ordered inspections of planes. This issue's been out there for a while, so I'm not really too concerned about it. Alibaba, ticker BABA, starting plans to charge users for its next release of its AI model Quinn. Moving on to the earnings front, we got Airbnb, ABNB, we got Akami, AKAM, we got JFrog, FROG, Monster Beverage, MNST, Cloudflare, NET, and Twilio. They're all trading higher after their releases. Roku slipping a bit. Looking ahead to Monday morning, we got Ferg, Awesome Therapeutics, we got Monday.com, and CAMT all scheduled to report. Okay, let's take a look overseas and see what we've got going on. The DAX. The DAX is higher by 0.89% this morning. It's supported by, strength in the industrial production and export data that came out. Tech stocks and software stocks are trading higher. The FTSE's higher by 0.75%, showing strong gains still in oil stocks because they're benefiting from firmer oil prices. In France, the CAC is up 0.43% and on track for its third consecutive weekly gain. Geopolitical tensions remain in focus after the Iranian state media reported naval operations described hitting hostile targets near the Strait of Hormuz. Moving on to Asia, and Asia was mainly higher. We had the Nikkei did slip; it was down 0.12%. It saw some pressure in tech stocks. Household spending fell 3.3%. Expectations were for a 1.0 increase, so that was really the key factor. In Hong Kong stocks rose 0.54%, supported by gains in tech shares following the encouraging economic data out of China. And China was up 1.02% with a rally in tech stocks. Due to the a strong trade data sentiment. China's exports surged 23.9%, while imports climbed 27.5%. So they got some robust trading activity going on. Looking at oil this morning, oil's lower. We got WTI at $76.85 a barrel. That's down 0.57%. We got Brent at $81.96 a barrel, down 0.64%. Iran carried out strikes on what they described as hostile targets near the Strait of Hormuz, and wants the U.S. To stop blocking its ships from using, and wants to block the U.S. from using its ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The only problem with that is the U.S. flagged vessels really don't travel the Strait of Hormuz, so we're not talking any real significant economic impact to the U.S. from that request. But we'll have to wait and see how that develops. Moving on into earnings, I guess we got to start off with Frog, FROG. That's JFrog. I mean, they beat by 3 cents. They did it on higher revenue. The stock's up 15.61% this morning. AKAM, Akami, that stock's up 8.81%. They beat by a penny on the higher revenue. You look at Roku shares. Roku shares have now turned positive. They're up 1.28%. They beat by 52 cents on higher revenue. And then you got ABNB, Airbnb. That stock's up 7.10% after beating by 15 cents on higher revenue. Upcoming Monday morning, we got FERG, Ferg. They just got added to the S&P 500. Their EPS is $3.23. Expected move is 8.35%. You got Monday.com, MNDY. EPS is $1.14. Expected move is 19.41%. In terms of economic reports, the key economic report for today is going to be the non-farms payroll report that comes out at 8:30. Expectations is for an add of 83,000 jobs, which would be a big gain from June's number of 57,000. Could come in around 75 is my thinking. But the unemployment rate is expected to remain unchanged at 4.2%. We also got the Baker Hughes reg count coming out at 1 p.m. in Richmond. Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin is going to be giving a speech today at 10 a.m. That may be something to watch. In terms of the FANG stocks, Amazon takes a new stake in which is X Energy. They're also running into issues with the build-out of a California data center. Alphabet, yesterday they issued $25 billion of investment-grade bonds. That's how they're paying for this that spike in capex. And of course, a New Mexico judge orders Meta to pay $942 million in a social media case. Meta's out there going to appeal. They're going to attempt to push the narrative on how they work to shut down bad actors and protect teens. They're better off settling. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, what else we got? Alpha. What do we got here? Boeing FAA orders inspection on the jet cracks. This issue's been around for years. This is not new. It's been around for 6 years. They finally just got around to ordering the inspections, but it's been worked on. It's not with their newer planes. It's with their older planes. You look at shares of Boeing, they're actually trading higher, so they're discounting this story. Microsoft, they got a big investment in OpenAI, and, OpenAI is moving into hardware with a high-end smart speaker that they're planning on releasing in 2027. Merck, Trump administration's weighing an executive order on autism and vaccines. In terms of merger news, Yum China buys Pizza Hut brand in China for $1.2 billion. Dream Homes, Dream Home Finders, DFH, they're going to acquire Beazer Homes, and that's creating the 6th largest U.S. home builder. In terms of guidance news, JFrog raises their full year 2026 EPSU to 96 cents to $1. Street estimates 95 cents. That's an uptick. Cloudflare, ticker NET, raises their full year 2026 EPSU to $1.25 to $1.26. Street estimates at $1.20. Airbnb sees Q3 revenue $4.69 billion to $4.77 billion. Street estimates at $4.61 billion. That's a nice uptick. Buyback news, FIGS, FIGS, they're increasing their share authorization by $100 million, so it's now $200 million. Okay, let's talk about our pick of the day today, and I'm going to go with Seadrill. That's ticker SDRL, Sam, David, Richard, Larry. Earnings are out Monday morning. EPS is 29 cents. Expected move is 10.29%. Now, the call volume was minimal yesterday. 12 calls to 2 puts. But the open interest, 900 calls to 79 puts. That's an indication of, bullish expectations on the stock. And the major brokers, the ones that do cover it, they're raising price targets. And last quarter, in the press release, the CEO stated that increased demand for deep water rigs is being supported by multiple customers across multiple regions, and a renewed global focus on energy security. And, said that we're seeing tailwinds into 2027 to drive positive day rate momentum. So I like that. I want to get in around 43. Under 43 is really what I want to do. Stock's trading 42.73 to 43.44, so under 43 is possible. But keep an eye on Seadrill, SDRL, earnings out Monday morning. Okay, let's talk about news hitting the tape over the last 15, 20 minutes, see if we see anything exciting. Viking Holdings, delivery of river shipped in Egypt. Oh, that's interesting. Groupon, GRPN sees Q3 billings up 4 to 6%. Alibaba plans to charge users of its next open AI model, Gwen, when it comes out. Interesting. Trump's having problems getting his nominees through Congress. Lyft says 30% of North American riders linked to a partner. Etsy trading higher. They got a big upgrade from a major broker today, ETSY. That's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's talk about our pick from yesterday. And I went with JFrog yesterday. That's ticker FROG. Look at the numbers. Stock opened up at $79.87. That was below my entry price. So that was a fine entry price. And then it ran to a high of $85.49. Your 1% is made. Now the stock closed at $83.04. And then after the earnings announcement, it just rallied. I mean, it hit a high of 100 already, but it's currently trading at 96, so 94.45 to 97.50. So it could still move higher, but JFrog was a winner yesterday. We took the gain and walked away, but very happy with that pick. All right, traders, that concludes today's NewsWare's Trade Talk podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.